Why the journey is the true destination. The shortcut that isn't. We live in an era of shortcuts. Every platform promises a faster way. Every ad offers transformation without the transition. Every algorithm has learned that what gets clicked, what stops the scroll, what catches the eye, is the before and after without the middle. The result without the process. The summit without the climb. And so we have quietly and collectively become allergic to taking steps. We are impatient with the in-between stages. At some level, we are convinced that if the path to our goal requires going through A, then B, then C, and D, all the way to Z, there must be a smarter route, a diagonal, a door in the wall we haven't yet discovered. Here is what 20 years of research on high achievement, skill development, and meaningful change consistently shows. There is no door in the wall. Not for the surgeon's precision, not for the writer's voice, not for the relationship that becomes truly deep, not for the business that truly sustains itself, not for the genuinely strong body or the mind that is truly clear or the character that is truly worthy of the things it seeks to build. The steps are not an obstacle between you and your goal. They are how the goal is built. And the person who tries to skip them, who insists on the result without the process, is not saving time. They are spending it on something that will not last. Today, we discuss the law of process, the most unglamorous yet vital principle underpinning everything that truly endures. You won't find a shortcut here. Instead, you'll discover something better, the realization that you don't need one. From A to Z, one letter at a time. The core idea of the law of process is surprisingly simple. If you want to go from A to Z, you must pass through B, C, and D step by step. Each step depends on the one before it. Each phase sets the stage for the next. Skipping even one step doesn't speed things up, it weakens the entire process. This seems obvious when stated, yet the extent to which most people violate it in practice, rushing to the later stage before the earlier one is ready, is remarkable. The fitness plan begins at an advanced level before the foundational movement patterns are established. The business launches the product before truly understanding the customer. The relationship rushes into deep intimacy before the trust that makes it safe has been built. The career pursues leadership roles before the credibility that earns them has been established. In each case, the issue isn't the ambition. The ambition is appropriate, and the goal is truly worth achieving. The issue is not following the sequence and assuming that wanting the later stage can replace the effort required for the earlier one. It cannot, not ever. And the proof of this is everywhere across all fields and pursuits, whether in projects that fail before they're finished, in results that appear and then fade, or in talent that shines brightly for a season and then burns out before it becomes anything memorable. The sequence isn't just a bureaucratic hurdle, it is the foundation. It is what enables the structure to support the weight of what you're trying to build. Respect the sequence. Please complete B before moving on to C. Make sure you understand what B teaches you before you're ready for what C demands. Not because someone told you to, but because the work itself requires it. The work is always wiser than impatience. The mountain and the climber. Think of your goal as a mountain. Standing at the base and looking up, you can feel the summit is impossibly far away. Its scale can be genuinely intimidating. The distance between where you are and where you want to go is so great that part of your mind starts to wonder whether it's worth the effort, whether you have what it takes, and whether the mountain might be too tall for someone starting from where you are. But here's what experienced climbers understand, and what everyone who has truly reached a summit carries with them. You don't conquer a mountain all at once. You climb the next 100 meters, then the next, then the next. It's not because you're forgetting the summit is always the direction you're heading. It's because the ground right in front of you is the only ground you can truly stand on. It's the only ground where you can put your weight, make progress, and where the journey is actually taking place. The climber who keeps their eyes fixed on the summit and ignores the ground beneath them does not reach the top any faster. They stumble, misjudge the terrain, miss the handholds the immediate ground offers, and sometimes fall. The climber who masters the ground immediately in front, who gives full attention to each step, each placement, each small section of the climb, moves steadily and safely upward and arrives. Your goals are your summits. The law of process is the wisdom of an experienced climber. Give your full attention to each step. Do it well. Complete it fully. Then give the same focus to the next step. The summit will be there when you arrive. You don't need to be at the top and at the start at the same time. You only need to be where you are right now and to take that step as well as you can. That is how summits are achieved. One step at a time, fully engaged, fully accomplished, and genuinely present in climbing. The foundation nobody wants to build. This is the step most often skipped, leading to the worst failures when it is. The foundation. In any complex endeavor, a building, a skill, a relationship, a business, or a life, the foundation is the least glamorous part. It is, almost by definition, the part nobody will see once the project is finished. It is underground, invisible, and unglamorous, and it takes longer to build than any comparable amount of above-ground work. Yet, it is the part that determines whether the structure above it can hold. The building can be beautiful, but if the foundation is weak, it will fail. A career might look impressive, but if its core skills are shallow, it will eventually crumble under the weight of expectations. Relationships can begin with strong chemistry and passion, but if trust isn't built on a solid foundation, it won't withstand pressure, and pressure always comes. The foundation is B. The visible structure is C through Z. The surest way to reach Z is not to skip B, no matter how unglamorous B feels compared with the Z you're aiming for. What does the foundation look like in person? At any skill level, it seems to come down to the basics. The fundamentals that seasoned practitioners constantly return to are the ones they understand are built on how well these fundamentals are grasped. The musician's scales, the athlete's movement patterns, the writer's sentences, the leader's listening. In a relationship, it's about consistency. It's the reliable showing up. They keep promises. The small acts of trustworthiness accumulate over time into a deep, bone-strong confidence that this person is genuinely who they seem to be. In business, it's about genuinely understanding the customer before building the product. It's like developing operational capacity before scaling revenue. It's like investing in the culture before expecting it to produce results. The foundation cannot be borrowed, skipped, or outsourced. You must build it yourself, through your work and in your own time, step by step, from the ground up. Build it carefully, build it patiently, build it more thoroughly than you think necessary, because the height of what you can build above it depends entirely on the quality of what you put below it. The education hidden in the middle. There is a phase in nearly every major project that isn't mentioned in success stories. You hear about the start, the bold decision, the exciting launch, the moment everything began. You hear about the end, the achievement, the arrival, the full transformation. But what about the middle? The messy, slow, often discouraging middle where excitement fades and the finish line isn't yet in sight. That part is often quietly left out of the version that gets shared. And so, we grow up with a distorted view of what the process really looks like. We see the beginning and the end. We don't see the long, often uninspiring middle stretch between them. When we're in that stretch in our own middle, unsure of our progress and unable to clearly see how far we've come or how much is left, we tend to see it as proof that something has gone wrong. Nothing has gone wrong. You are right in the middle. The middle is where the real work happens. And it turns out the real education lives there too. Every important endeavor teaches lessons that can only be learned through experience, not by reading about it, watching others, or preparing in advance, but by actually doing the work, making mistakes, and facing the specific obstacles your unique path and goal present. The musician who faces a challenging passage, who doesn't skip or avoid it but works through it repeatedly until it yields, learns something about their instrument and their own musicianship that no shortcut can provide. The entrepreneur who navigates a real business crisis learns something about decision making under pressure that the business school case study can only approximate. The relationship that endures a tough period develops a depth that relationships that have never been tested cannot attain. Education is at the core. The frustration, uncertainty, slow progress, mistakes, corrections, adjustments, and revelations, these are not unfortunate costs of the process. They are the process itself. They are what the journey is all about. If you could somehow extract only the result and leave the process behind, you would have the destination without the ability to inhabit it, the summit without the strength that made it reachable. And that is a much smaller prize than it seems. Stay centered, focus closely, let it teach you everything it can. Celebrating the step, not only the summit. We are so focused on goals, so conditioned to judge worth solely by how close we are to the finish, that we often overlook our achievements without pausing to recognize them. The habit of celebration is almost always reserved for big moments like graduation, launches, or other impressive milestones that are easy to announce. However, the countless smaller steps that truly make up the journey, those doing the real work of building, go uncelebrated, their importance overlooked, and their contributions unnoticed by the person taking them. This is a mistake, not just a missed opportunity for good feeling, though that matters too, but a strategic error, a misunderstanding of how motivation and momentum actually work. The brain is strengthened by acknowledgement. When you complete a step and truly notice it, even pausing briefly to recognize that you've made real progress, the neural system responsible for building habits and preparing for the next step receives a signal. This is important. This is worth doing more of. That signal is fuel, not the fuel of external validation, someone else's approval of your progress, but the deeper fuel of your honest acknowledgement that the work you are doing is real, good, and building something that matters. What is the significance of the celebration of the step? It doesn't mean throwing a party every time you finish a paragraph or complete a workout. It means pausing, truly pausing, to acknowledge what just happened, to recognize that you showed up even when it was hard, to accept that the step you just took was the one needed on this journey today, and that you did it. There is a unique satisfaction in completing a step well. It is different from simply finishing, the feeling of having done the current task with real presence, effort, and care. That feeling is accessible at every stage of the process, not just at the end. Learn to feel it. Allow yourself to experience it. Let it fuel you to the next step and the one after that. The summit is important, and so are all the steps that lead to it. They are the ones truly doing the work. Setbacks are a natural part of the process. The law of process includes something the motivational highlight reel always overlooks. Setbacks are not interruptions to the process. They are integral to it. Every important journey includes these moments. The step taken often leads in the wrong direction. The plan that fails teaches us something. The effort that doesn't yield the expected result is part of the process. The skill proves more difficult to learn than expected. The relationship encounters an unexpected obstacle. The project must be reconsidered from the ground up. Without the law of process, in a framework that values only results and ignores the journey, setbacks serve as proof. Proof that the goal is out of reach and that you're not capable. The wise choice is to stop. In the law of process, setbacks are data. They provide the clearest, most precise feedback on what the journey truly demands, feedback that theory and preparation can't give. Only the real encounter with actual difficulty can. The musician who struggles with a passage has pinpointed exactly where the difficulty lies. The entrepreneur whose first attempt to enter the market fails has learned precisely what the market truly desires that the initial effort did not meet. The person whose effort to establish a new habit falls apart has discovered the specific conditions and triggers necessary for that habit to survive. None of this learning comes without setbacks. The setback is the teacher, and the only useful question in the face of a setback is, what is this showing me that I need to understand to take the next step more effectively? That reframe doesn't make setbacks painless. The disappointment of genuine failure, the frustration of an unexpected obstacle, and the discouragement of progress reversed. These are real. Feel them. Don't bypass, minimize, or mask them with forced positivity. But once you've felt them, don't stop there. Ask the question, gather the information, adjust your approach, and take the next step, informed by what the setback has just taught you, even at some cost. That isn't failure. It's the process working as it should. The power of consistent actions. Here is the part of the law of process that most people don't realize until they're in it and looking back. The steps are complex, not linear, not like adding one brick to a wall where each brick holds the same value as the last. More like compound interest, where each step builds not only on the previous one, but on the entire accumulated structure of everything that came before. In this way, progress in later stages isn't just the result of work done during those stages, but depends on the complete foundation laid by all earlier work. This is why the skill of someone who has genuinely worked through the process, who has gone through A, B, C, D, and all the way to Z without skipping, is fundamentally different from that of someone who reached Z by taking a shortcut. The first person possesses not only the result, but also the entire architecture of understanding that makes it usable, adaptable, and expandable. The second person has a facade impressive from the outside, but lacking the structural depth that allows it to be built upon. Compounding also occurs in character. Each step completed with genuine presence and effort develops not only the specific skill of that step, but also the broader ability to show up, stay with difficulty, and trust the process amid the uncertainty that characterizes every journey's middle. The person who has achieved this, who has cultivated the discipline, faith, and patience that a genuine process demands, carries that capacity into every next endeavor. And in the specific currency of whatever you're building, compounding is just as real. The small daily writing practice, sustained over years, creates a body of work no single burst of effort could produce. The consistent investment in relationships formed on ordinary, unremarkable days builds an intimacy no dramatic gesture can achieve. The steady, patient, day-by-day development of a skill reaches a depth that intensity alone cannot match. The steps seem small when you're actually on them. They seem small because each one is minor on its own. It doesn't stand out. But when you add up many minor steps over time, they lead to results that appear remarkable from the outside, not due to genius or luck, but to the power of the process's compounding effect. Trust the process. Keep taking steps. Progress is happening, even when it's not yet visible. The step right in front of you. Everything we've discussed today boils down to a single, clear, and immediately actionable truth. The next step is the most important. Not Z, not the summit, the result, the arrival, or the final version of what you're building. It's the next one. The one that's available to you right now, today, in the real circumstances of your life, with the resources you actually have. That step, the specific, modest, doable, unglamorous next step, is where everything lies. Not the inspiration, not the big idea, not the perfect moment when all conditions align. Motivation is high, and the path is clear from start to finish. The next step, the one that's here, the one available. And that step, taken with full presence, effort, and honesty about what it requires that step, and then the next, and the one after that is how every truly significant thing has ever been built. Not by people who were exceptional from the beginning, but by people who are committed to the process. Those who show up for the step in front of them again and again. Over the weeks, months, and years, the process demands those who do not demand the summit before they have climbed to the next ledge. Those who are willing to be where they are, learn what that stage has to teach, and trust that the foundation being built will support the weight of what they are working toward. You're currently involved in a process, probably multiple processes. Some began in early spring, just beginning. Others are in the long, challenging middle. Some are nearing completion, and you can finally see them clearly. No matter what stage you're at, you're neither behind nor ahead. You're exactly where the process has taken you, and the process, honored faithfully, is always exactly where it needs to be. Focus on doing the next step well, not the entire journey or the steps you can't reach yet, just the one in front of you, and then the next, and then the next one. That is the law of process. The life it creates, one honest, present, fully attended step at a time, endures.